हेलो बच्चों, कैसे हो? आपका स्वागत है त्रिपान स्टडी सेंटर में। आज जो हम करने जा रहे हैं क्लास 10th एनआईएस बोर्ड का जो है चैप्टर नंबर 25, जिसमें आज हम करेंगे सोशल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट एंड एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ डिसएडवांटेज ग्रुप। इसका अर्थ यही हुआ कि सामाजिक आर्थिक विकास तथा जो है अभावग्रस्त समूहों का जो है सशक्तिकरण। तो काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण चैप्टर होने वाला है। ये टॉपिक रहेगा कई मायने में हर एक क्लास के बच्चों के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा, चाहे वो सीबीएसई में पढ़ते हों, चाहे एनआईएस बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, चाहे यूपी बोर्ड के बच्चे हो, चाहे बिहार बोर्ड के बच्चे हो। इवन कि जो बच्चे कंपटीशन की तैयारी कर रहे हैं उनको जो है विस्तार पूर्वक पढ़ना है, समझना है, तो उसकी उनके लिए भी काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण रहने वाला है। लेकिन आपको पता है कि चैप्टर स्टार्ट करने से पहले एक बात जो मैं सदैव कहता हूं, जिसको आपको सोचना भी चाहिए, विचार भी करना चाहिए और इवन अमल भी करना चाहिए, वो ये है कि जब भी वीडियो देखिए पूरा देखिए, क्योंकि अधूरा जानकारी सदैव खतरनाक होता है। साथ में एक इंपॉर्टेंट बात ये भी रहता है, अगर आप पहली बार वीडियो देख रहे हो तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना, क्योंकि दोस्तों लाइक कीजिएगा तो बनाने वाले का मनोबल बढ़ता है, सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा तो इससे ये होता है कि जब भी मैं कोई वीडियो डालूंगा उसका नोटिफिकेशन आपको समय रहते मिल जाएगा। और देखिए शेयर का मतलब ये होता है कि आपके थ्रू ना जाने किन बच्चों को हेल्प मिल जाए, ये आप भी नहीं जानोगे, इसलिए जो है आप शेयर जरूर करो, ठीक है। व्हाट्सएप स्टेटस पे भी लगाओ। दोस्तों एनआईएस सेंटर जो है कई मानने में बहुत से बच्चों के लिए हेल्पफुल है, चाहे वो 8th क्लास हो, 9th 10th 11th 12th हो, चाहे वो एनआईएस बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, ठीक है, चाहे बीए एमए के बच्चे हो, सभी क्लासों के लिए कुछ ना कुछ जो है त्रिपान सेंटर में उपलब्ध है। तो इसलिए आपके लिए ज़रूरी है कि आप सब्सक्राइब करके इसको चैनल को जो है सेव कर लो, नहीं तो बाद में अगर रिसर्च करोगे तो शायद आपको ये चैनल प्राप्त ना हो। तो इसलिए सोचना नहीं, विचार नहीं करना है, सब्सक्राइब करके जो है अपने पास सेव करना है। दोस्तों ये तो बात था आपके लिए, लेकिन आप देखते हैं हमारा आज टॉपिक क्या है। Our next topic is the most important here, religions development. This is the most important religions development here. There is a topic here, imbalance and there are socio-economical disparities in India. This is the most important, imbalances and there is social-economical disparities in India. We have discussed about that the effort made for the social-economical development in India has been to aim at the holistic development of all the religions of the country. In fact, one of the major objectives of development planning initiated immediately after independence has been to be reductions of religion disparities by the promoting the development of all the regions. The planning and implementation process has focused on approach of regional and development. But one of the critical problems facing here India has economic as the sharp and growing regional variation among different states and union territory. This is important here. There is regional variation among two different states and union territory here. There are content differences which are already created by nature. For example, you may be find in the figures below that figures and some area has a plant topographs and fertile alluvial soil and abundance of water like a Indo-Ganga plant. Whereas there are content an area which have a hilly terrains, dense forest cover and the less fertile soil like a northern eastern part of country. And this difference is created by the nature is called regional diversities here. This is important. This difference is created our natures are that is called regional diversity. But there are contain difference that are human made, and this difference are inequalities are related to be indicators like a pre-capital income. And agriculture growing industrial growth, expansion of transport and communication of facility, literacy and status of their health. The status of health is also important, and this human made a difference or inequality between two regions and known as the disparities. Disparities is important here. The human made difference and inequality between two regions and known as the disparities here. You maybe understand disparities in the better way when you observe figure, and it is these are disparities that are causing a concern. Let us analyze and try to understand the disparities in the respect of the following here. First of all, here there is a picture here, diversity. Diversity is the most important here. Our surrounding the natural resources here, diversities. And on your screen, there is the most important natural resource here. And the next picture is the most important here, is disparities here. This is upper as a picture is here, this diversity, but lower here is important here. Disparity is the most important. Urbanizations, village, and there is a farming. There's a most important picture on your screen here. And the next picture here, there is agriculture and there is a this area here. This is a disparities here. This is important here. There is a disparities in India. This is the most important things here. The first of all here, per capita income. The per capita income is the census of the level of economical activity in the region. There are a very wide regional and disparities per capita income. For the year 2005 to 6, national average of per capita income was rupees 25,760. There is a most important there are whereas only 7 states which have a per capita income higher than the national average. The bottom 7 poorest states that had to per capita incomes below their national average are Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. There is a below the national average. There are Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Rajasthan and Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. And these states are the home to be more than half of Indian as a population. This is important here. The states are home to be more than half of Indian population. The next year, poverty. A state view of poverty ratio has witnessed a decline over to the year. Though the poverty has a decline at the macro level, rural, urban and the interstate disparities are continuing. The poverty ratio is still level is high in Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. The poverty rate in the urban Orissa is 43% and the rural Bihar at 40% are some of the worst in there is world. On the other hand, the rural Haryana is 5.7% here and the rural Punjab 2.4%. The compare well even at the global level with the sum of the middle income countries here. But the next year, industrial growth. The initially distribution of the industry in India was determined by the historical process of growing dry to the primary by the interest of the British rulers. As a result, most of the industries were concentrated at the few centers. And this pattern has a continuity in the post-independence period as well. That all the attempt made so far to expand the process of industrialization of various regions. There is the most important here, industrial growth here. And the next year, agriculture growth. Regional disparities is agricultural growth have increasing over the year with the state of Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh pushing well ahead of the others. And the per capita average food grain productions has been to the highest in the Punjab and the lowest in the Kerala. This is the most important here. The per capita average food grain production has been to their highest in the Punjab and the lowest in the Kerala. Mizoram and Maharashtra are their lowest level in the respect of irrigated area. A state like Punjab and Haryana achieve a high rate of agriculture productivity because of having extensive irrigation facility and intensive use of fertilizer. In the majority of the state, agriculture growth is yet to be pick up their needed pace and come up to their potential. This is important here. And the next year, literacy here. It is one of the major indicator of socio-economic development, but there are great disparities in the respect in the various regions. According to Census 2001, the literacy rate is the highest in the Kerala and the lowest in Bihar. It's important. 2001 literacy rate here highest in the Kerala and lowest in Bihar. This is the most important for the competition view. Whereas the all Indian average of literacy rate was 65.38%. It was a 90.92% of Kerala and the only 47% in Bihar. And there is significance of variation among the rest of the state also. And this is important here. The next year, transport and communication. Transport and communication in the India are of the various types. The common forms of transportation are roadways, railways, airways, and waterways. When you look at their data is respect of the even one of these, and you may be appreciate their prevalence or disparities. For example, in the respect of the road length, there are some states and that are at a very advanced level, whereas there is a some in the which their road situation is a very poor. With regard to total road length per 100 kilometer, Kerala is the top the list, whereas the state of Jammu and Kashmir is at the bottom. This is the most important here. The Kerala is the top list and state of Jammu and Kashmir is the bottom level. The next year, cases of regional disparities here. This is the most important cases of the regional disparities here. Whenever we try to identify the reasons for a regional imbalance in the various regions, we tend to think that population growth, literacy, and the lack of basic infrastructures are responsible for the underdevelopment of content states. But if we analyze this reason further, we find that this factor is not only the reasons are underdeveloped in the backward state, but also it is an outcome. It's important. For example, there has been to unabated of population growth and prevalence of literacy and the lack of basic infrastructures in many underdeveloped states. Primarily because there is socio-economic development has not taken place in the way it was taken place in the other forward states. It is therefore interesting to analyze their following major cases of regional disparities here. It's important the major cases of the regional disparities here. The next historical perspective is important here. During the colonial rules in the pre-independent era, the area which were not important for a commercial and political angle receive a little attention and they remain under development. You know that there is important pre-independent era and this era not important for the commercially political angle receive a little attention and remain under development. And those areas still continue to be ignored by their independence. And the most prominent is among such as area are the tribal area of central and northern eastern India. And geographical factor like here, topographs of regions can be constrained at the development. The desert region Rajasthan and difficult hill terrains of northern eastern regions are examples such of case. It's important geographical factors here. And the next year, unequal distribution and variation is a use for natural resource. This is an important point here. Unequal distributions and variation in the use of natural resources here. As you may be aware, natural resources like coal, iron, ores, oil, natural gas and other are not available in all the states. But these abilities alone has not ensured the development of such states. There are content states that have made a good use of this privilege, but other like Bihar, Jharkhand and Odisha have not been to the able to do so. This is an important point here. There are content state has been made to the good use of this privilege, but other like Bihar, Jharkhand and Odisha have not been able to do so. And the next year, remote area from national market. The remote area from national markets here. The distance of regions for there is a national markets has also affected the development of economic in those area, especially the northern eastern region, and making it difficult to be alert their growth process. The next year, lack of basic infrastructure. The state that has been developed infrastructure facility like a road, electricity and transportation facility have made a speedily progress in terms of social economical development. You know that there is an important the state that are developing infrastructure facility like a road, electricity and Position facility has made to the speedily progress in terms of social economical development. The state that lack this facility or find it difficult to the equatorials is utilize their allocated investment and also to be attract private investor. This is the most important here, attract to the private investor here. The next here, poor governance. The most important factor that influences socio-economical development is the quality of governance. You may be observed that a state that has to move forward has been to make a spell of good governance for most of the periods. On the other hand, almost all of the backward states are those that has not been to able to develop in basic infrastructure, has been struggling with a law and order problem and have not been to able to make a optimum utilization of the national resource localized by the planning commission. It's important. They have not been able to make optimum utilization of national resources localized by the planning commission. The poor governance has also been discouraging the private investor to set up industries or pressure any other productivity and activity in those states. This is the most important point here, poor governance. Poor governance is the most important factor. There is not growth equality of governance here. Now that this topic was still this, we will do the next topic in the next part. If you like it when, please like, share, subscribe and share the video as much as possible. And do not think or described and subscribe and save your mobile.